Greetings, everybody. It is Gibby from Ohio, checking in on March 19th, the year of our Lord 2026. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm gonna start doing these a little bit shorter than I have been, try to be a little more succinct because I find my mind wanders and it's impossible to cover everything that disgusts me in this country right now. So bear with me if you don't mind. I'm also doing this without glasses, so I'm flying blind quite literally. Um, I, I know a lot of this stuff is online and you don't know what's real and what's not, what's a bot, what's an actual human being. Um, and there's no real way to tell. But I continue to be dumbfounded by people that just ignore everything this lunatic has done in office. And I can't help but wonder, what would the reaction be if you took the exact same actions and you attach them to somebody else, and then you ask people how they would react to that? How would they feel? For example, how would you feel if you were told Barack Obama lied over 30,000 times during his first term in office? How would you feel if Joe Biden ran and said no new wars and then immediately bombed 8 countries over the next year and started a war with Iran when they were not a nuclear threat to us? What would you say then? What would you say if Kamala Harris got elected and she said, "Oh, the economy is terrible. I'm going to fix it. Gas prices will go down. Milk will be affordable. Eggs. Don't forget about the eggs. We're going to make sure everybody can have eggs." And all of these blank promises, and then upon getting elected, crapped all over them, accomplished none of them, and in fact did the exact opposite. How would you react then? How would you react if, I don't know, Gavin Newsom, let's say Gavin Newsom is president, and you find out that he is a close friend of the world's biggest pedophile and largest sex trafficker who probably unalived young ladies, little girls. How would you feel about that? How would you feel if you were told that Gavin Newsom bankrupted casinos, filed for bankruptcy 6 times, dodged the draft 5 times, all while professing to be some great patriot and really tough, tough as nails, and some big Billy badass? How would you feel about that? How would you feel if Gavin Newsom, I'm going to spread the love here. Let's say it's Pete Buttigieg. How would you feel if Pete Buttigieg um, enriched himself and his family while in office and completely ignored the emoluments clause and went around quite literally making billions of dollars for him and his children and his spouse while in office? How would you feel about that? I'm guessing most of you would have a problem if that were the case. How would you feel if, since you guys like to do hypotheticals so much, how would you feel if, oh, I don't know, Buttigieg had been married 3 times, cheated on all of the spouses, and was cheating when his third wife was breastfeeding his youngest child? How would you feel about that? How would you feel, I don't know, if we had another elected official? Let's say it's not a Republican again. We're going to say Democrat because I already know the answers to these questions. I just thought it might be fun to ask them. How would you feel if, oh, I don't know, Barack Obama lost after his first term to Mitt Romney, and Mitt Romney beat him in the election, and then Barack Obama, while still in power, went down to the lips and told all of his supporters to march on the Capitol and to fight like hell, and told a group of supporters to stand by and be ready to help him out should there be an insurrection. How would you feel if the same person watched as our Capitol building and the police officers protecting it were attacked and were beaten with American flags, sprayed with bear spray, beat in the head with fire extinguishers. If Democrats went into Congress and wiped feces on the wall, stole items, went into our elected officials' offices looking for them while people were chanting in the background to kill them. How would you feel about that? I'm guessing you would probably have a problem with that if it weren't Donald Trump or if it weren't a Republican. If that is the case, you're a hypocrite and you're a piece of crap. Period. Point blank. Period. Point blank. You're a piece of crap. You stand for nothing. You have no honor. You have no ethics. You have no code. Now, if you can be honest and you can say, well, I never really thought of it like that, I guess on the other foot, if a Democrat did any of those things, I would be very upset about it and I would not support that because that's what's happening here. You're greenlighting everything one guy and one party does, no matter how heinous it is. And you know damn well if the shoe were on the other foot, you would have a massive problem with it. For that matter, your supposed liberal media, Fox News, ONN, Wall Street Journal, now CNN, all of these places have a conservative spin and they're controlled by basically the White House. It is now state-run television like you would see in an authoritarian country. I don't know, Russia, North Korea. That's what we have here now. See, the nice thing about our country was the laws were put in place for a reason. Our founding fathers had a lot of really good ideas, whereas not perfect, they had some really good ideas. And they were supposed to apply to everyone, regardless of their political affiliation, their religious beliefs, who they loved, et cetera, et cetera. But increasingly over the last 40, 50 years, a portion of the population only thinks that those things apply if it benefits their party. And then they completely ignore them when it doesn't. If you don't see that and you're not willing to acknowledge it, you're a dishonest person, or you're uninformed, or you're just plain stupid. I don't know which. And it's getting harder and harder to tell what the difference is. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that if Barack Obama, Pete Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris did any of those things, it would be on a 24-hour news cycle on Fox and the other networks that I mentioned. The print news that is also right wing would be putting it on there on the front page of the paper, calling for not only removal, impeachment and removal, but they'd be calling for jail, prison time, public hangings, all of these things, because it's happened before. We have a hypocrisy problem in this country where people say they stand for something until it's an inconvenience and they no longer stand for it. Um, I'll bring this up again when we get into religion and how people like to claim that they're Christian and then turn around and ignore a large portion of scripture. And I know what I was taught going to church throughout my childhood and, being a young man. The things that people are supporting in this administration and from the Republican Party are directly against what I was taught and what most of you were taught as well. But again, it doesn't matter because it's your party. If you are willing to lie and obfuscate and deflect and not acknowledge what's actually transpiring so it can be dealt with honestly, then you're not worth having a conversation with. You're just not. And if you can take a step back and admit, you know what, I got duped, I got lied to, and yeah, there's some really reprehensible behaviors, and I don't condone that. Then we're making some progress. The problem is we keep seeing people say, yeah, well, what about Bill Clinton? What about whomever? There is no what about. Those people are not in charge. Your guy is in charge. Your guy is dragging down the economy, putting us into unnecessary wars, getting our citizens killed, sending them back in a coffin for their families to receive them, and not caring enough to even show up and give them a dignified reception. And now they're also blocking that information so we can't see the actual casualties that are coming back. That has never been done before. And in Vietnam, they lied to us a lot, but we didn't have the media available to us. We didn't have the technology that we do now, so it took a while to figure that out. Right now, we have the technology, we have media, and they're just point blank lying to us, omitting things under the threat of having their broadcast license revoked, having people fired. And again, that's an authoritarian thing. That is not democratic. That is not something this country ever would have gotten behind at any point in time. And if you are in support of that still, you've got major, major defects. And at this point, you either get off the ship, you start paddling to shore, asking for a life preserver and swearing to the people if they throw you a life preserver, you're going to help rectify the situation, or you go down with the damn ship because the ship is going down. This guy is not going to last forever, and there will be accountability. You may not believe that now, but it's coming. And I'll get into a conversation at some point about, okay, let's play devil's advocate here and talk about, let's say we had an authoritarian Democrat running things and they did all of this crap. How would you feel then? Process that for a little bit. If a Democrat were in office right now and all three branches of government were controlled by liberals, as well as the Supreme Court, and this crap was going on, I bet all of a sudden those "Don't Tread on Me" flags would be on the back of trucks, blowing in the wind. Because right now they're hanging on flagpoles and they don't stand for a damn thing. It's all cosplay. You guys hang those things up and you don't mean it because guess what? Right now, this is what the founding fathers were talking about. This is oppression. This is a tyrannical government trying to subvert its people, trying to get rid of free and fair elections, trying to remove people from this country who are here legally seeking asylum, beating, maiming, killing our citizens who are out there exercising their constitutional right to protest. None of this is right. None of it's just. None of it's fair. And you know damn well if a Democrat were doing what Donald Trump is doing and the Republicans are doing, you would have a massive problem with it. And you would be bitching about it every minute of every day. But because it's your boy, you turn a blind eye or you just deny that it's happening altogether. That's reprehensible. I'll be back. Food for thought. Gibby from Ohio. Out.